So it's been quite a while since I've done a video on what I would consider a budget, affordable piece of tackle, but that changes today. But before we get into it, for everyone who is waiting for my Shimano ALDEBARAN DC bait finesse test video, I assure you the reel is mounted on the rod, spooled up and ready to go. But for the past few weeks it's been mid-90s with 100% humidity here, and when it's like that I don't even like to go outdoors, much less go out and try to film a casting video. So I'm gonna wait till the temperatures cool down a little so I can give it my best effort. But this gives us a perfect chance to segue into this reel, and this is a reel that is going to be perfect for everyone watching this video who would love an ALDEBARAN DC, but you just can't afford its near $400 price tag. So with that being said, I introduce to you the $100 DC reel, the DMK CHEETAH. And yes, you heard me correctly, the $100 DC reel. And in fact, the guys who sent me this reel, Don Quinn Fishing, on their website at the time of this recording, the price of this reel is just below $100. So I'm going to leave a link pinned at the top of the comment section that's going to take you right to where you can buy this reel. And trust me, this reel should be way more than $100 based on the specs and features that I've read. But no, China coming through when everything else is getting more expensive. They are providing us with quality tackle at an affordable price. So let's get into it. All right, so you get a little DMK bag, which is nice, some paperwork, and guys, the DMK CHEETAH comes in two colors. You get the dark gray with purple spool, and then you got this limited edition, which is what I requested, and it is like a whitish silver. And let's check it out. Boom, look at that. Check this reel out. Okay, wow. So for $100 I was expecting, I guess, a generically smooth retrieve, but this is definitely the retrieve of a reel that is way more expensive. That was with the drag tightened. Very impressive so far on the retrieve. Okay, a little bit of mush on the thumb bar, a little bit of play. But once again, this is a $100 DC reel. Let's check it out. So it's pretty much just like a, I don't know what you would call it, a pearl white silver with some red lettering, as well as the stages on the dial are red, but everything else is black. Right, there's some more red lettering right there. 11+1 bearings, which is kind of at an angle. It's not perfectly straight, but that's okay. Drag star feels good. That's usually one thing that suffers when you get a reel from China around this price point, is a kind of a vague, sloppy feeling drag when you turn the star. But no, with this CHEETAH it feels mainstream. So yeah, it is a good looking reel. Paint job is definitely more expensive looking than the price point. I'm trying to look for some imperfections. Looks like there may be one right here. I don't know if you guys can see it, but that's okay. But yeah, $100 DC reel. I never thought I'd see the day when there would be a DC reel for under $100. But I'm going to do my usual inspection, And then I'm going to show you guys everything this reel comes with feature wise, and it's quite a lot. Okay, so my inspection's over, and let's go over everything you're gonna get for your money with this DMK CHEETAH. Now, we already went over the fact that it's gonna come with a high bearing count at 11+1. With the CHEETAH, everything on this reel clicks with the exception of one thing. So that means the drag star clicks, of course. Very nice, tight, positive clicks. Spool tension clicks. It's very smooth to turn, but the clicks are kind of soft and muted, but that's okay. And the drag clicks. Now, the drag on my particular reel takes quite a bit of effort to start up, but let me see if I can get it to click for you. So if I really wanted to, I could probably open up the reel and grease the drag washers to get that startup pressure a little bit lower. But the only thing that doesn't click is going to be the brake dial, which I'm going to go over with you guys here in a few minutes when we check out the braking system on this reel. But also for your money, you're going to get a tapered line guide. Hopefully you guys can see that. So that means the opening of the line guide is wider and bigger than the exit of the line guide. Now, the handle and the spool tension are made of metal, probably aluminum. The drag star, it's got a nice big size, but it is made of probably graphite. This solid black trim piece that covers the gearbox, that's made of plastic or graphite. But overall, the build quality on the CHEETAH is excellent, especially for the price point. It's very solid. Nothing creaks or makes any kind of noise. There's no rickety noises or clackety noises when I shake the reel. And some of you guys know this already, but the CHEETAH is based off of the much more expensive DMK Silver Feather Smart DC, which I've done a few videos on a little over a year ago. You can definitely see the resemblance there. Now, the CHEETAH does palm a little bit lower because the top of the frame slopes down, while on the Silver Feather kind of goes up. But this reel, when it came out, was way more expensive than the CHEETAH. I think I paid probably close to $300 for it. So only a short time later, DMK gives us a $100 DC reel. And once again, if I haven't said it already, there's going to be a link pinned at the top of the comments where you can get one of these reels for yourself. Now, of course, the final and most important feature on this reel is going to be its digital brake system called the MIIEC. And you can see that there are these two little LED looking things here. These are lights that do light up when you cast, I've been told. I can't get them to light up right now, but this system doesn't require any charging. But we'll go over all the features of the MIIEC brakes here in a moment. But what makes this reel so cheap in cost versus the Silver Feather, if they have similar brakes and are built off the same frame? Well, the reason that this reel is so affordable is that where the Silver Feather Smart DC uses magnesium for its frame, and I believe carbon for its side plates, the CHEETAH uses nylon. So I believe the frame and probably the side plates are nylon. So it's not even carbon, which honestly is perfectly fine. Another reel that was made out of nylon was the KASTKING Valiant Eagle 2 BFS reel, and that reel is solid as a rock. So they're using a nylon frame to keep the cost down, but the reel feels great. It's built extremely well. So now let's pull out the measuring equipment, otherwise known as the scales, and get a weight on this CHEETAH as well as its spool. So hopefully you guys can see the scale. Now normally I use a different one, but it looks like I lost it. But we're going to start off with the reel that CHEETAH is based off of. That's going to be the Silver Feather Smart DC coming in at 5.2 ounces. Now, putting down the Silver Feather and picking up the Cheetah, it wouldn't surprise me if the Cheetah is actually lighter, but let's see what the scale says. It is fractionally lighter at 5.08 or 5.1 ounces. So if I'm not mistaken, that's actually even lighter than Shimano's ALDEBARAN DC. So a very lightweight reel, and that lightweight paired up with its very small size make the Cheetah an extremely comfortable reel to palm. So now let's get to that spool. So of course the spool scales out, and we're going to start off with the spool of the Silver Feather. And it's got a spool bearing, 9.58 grams. It's almost 9.6 grams, and that's with the bearing. Now by contrast, the spool of the ALDEBARAN DC is 12.5 grams without its bearing. Alright, so here's the Cheetah spool, and if you look real close, they look like the exact same spool to me. Both are supposed to be a very small 28 millimeters in diameter. The depth is about the same. Spool shaft looks to be the same. And I'm pretty sure I could swap spools back and forth between both reels. But let's go ahead and weigh the Cheetah spool. And I'm going to leave the silver sticker on. 9.69 grams. And I'm sure that 1/10 of a gram gain in weight is due to the sticker that's wrapped around this spool. But I'm going to leave that on for now. And I'm going to see if I can take this bearing off. Alrighty. Spool bearing is off. And we're looking at a spool weight of 8.5 grams, including the chrome sticker. Now, just to put this into context, if you consider this a bait finesse reel, which a lot of you will, due to just how shallow the spool is and how small the spool is, 8.5 grams would be considered heavy by today's bait finesse standards. But if you compare this spool to the spool of the much more expensive Shimano ALDEBARAN DC, that spool weighs 12.5 grams, so it is like almost 50% heavier than the spool of this budget Cheetah reel. And the way that they can do that is, if I can just zoom in, and I'm gonna take this scale out of here. Now the way that the Chinese are able to do that is by having this very, very minuscule electromagnetic mechanism attached to the spool shaft versus the much bigger and heavier mechanism that you'll see in Shimano's DC reels. So it's very, very small, and it's kind of funny that Shimano is the company that pioneered digital braking technology, but on paper they seem to be a step behind the Chinese. So yeah, now let's talk about the brake system. Been out. Now I don't know how many generations or iterations of the MII EC digital brakes have come out already, but the version that's on the Cheetah offers a lot of cool features even over the much more expensive Silver Feather DC, and let's talk about them. Now the first thing is there is no app connectivity. Now app connectivity is all cool and fun at the very beginning, but having to pull your phone out to make fine-tuning adjustments gets old pretty quick. So with the Cheetah, everything is controlled by this one brake dial. So even with a much more expensive reel like the Silver Feather that has the app connectivity, if you didn't want to use the app, you would have to, I guess, memorize and master a series of button presses in order to change the braking force and brake modes of the Silver Feather. So I definitely prefer the Cheetah's simple dial. Now one cool feature that was mentioned on Don Kuhn Fishing's website is that the brake dial is stepless, or it doesn't click. So turning the brake dial, it's actually very refined, more refined than I would expect on a $100 reel. But there are no clicks or steps or detents. So that makes this Cheetah's brake system almost infinitely adjustable. And then of course you have the corresponding dots that will let you know, with smaller dots getting bigger as you go from minimum to maximum. And it said if you set these brakes to minimum that you get virtually zero braking force. So the adjustability, even though it has no brake modes, should be far superior than even Shimano's IDC brakes. Now, I was told that these two LED lights only light up during the cast, so there's nothing I can do here short of spooling the reel up and then using my line stripper to try to strip the line off to make them light up, but I'm gonna wait till we get out in the water to show you guys that feature. But the information on these brakes is also that it does make that DC sound. Now, it doesn't appear that you can turn it off like you can on the Silver Feather through the app, but honestly, why get a DC reel if you don't get that DC music with it? But here's a cool thing. The closer you get to the maximum brake setting, the louder the DC whine is going to be, and the closer you get to the minimum dial setting, the quieter the DC whine is going to be. So that's cool. So all this on a reel that is around $100. Now the question is, how good are these brakes going to be casting out on the water? So I've done reviews on a lot of tackle that were really great bang for your buck options, and so far on paper, the DMK CHEETAH ranks up there as far as value for your money. Basically meaning you're getting a lot more for the price that you paid. Now, I never thought I would see the day when digital braking technology will cost less than $100. And speaking of cost, I just got word from Donkun Fishing that they are combining the shipping and tariff fee in just one low cost. I think it's somewhere just under $15. With that being said, the CHEETAH feels really smooth and solidly built. It could definitely pass for a baitcaster that cost $200 easy. So of course, the next thing to do is to mount the CHEETAH on a rod, fill it full of line, and see what this budget DC reel can do. I'm actually really looking forward to playing with a stepless DC braking system and listen to the variable noise it's going to make. So once again, if you want the DMK CHEETAH, go to the link pinned at the top of the comment section to get yours, and let me know in the comment section if you plan on getting one. Alright guys, thanks a lot.